What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
All right, I think we are all set. What is going on, everybody? Welcome into yet another Red October edition of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's episode number 472. KB and Matt coming at you. We're going to take you right in to Game 2 of Phillies Braves because of Mother Nature creeping her head through during these playoffs. Some would say, Matt, that this is the most ill-timed weather delay in Phillies postseason history.
Is it?
We're going to talk all things Phils. Obviously, Matt wasn't on Sunday's show, so we're going to get his joy and thoughts on sending Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina to the retirement home. And, of course, we'll talk about Game 1 as well, where, I don't know, Matt, the analytics nerds are saying Nick Castellanos shouldn't be in the outfield. But
all season long, they told me that he was statistically the worst starting right fielder. Turns out you put him in left field, though.
So we'll talk about Game 1, and we'll talk about this upcoming game with Zach Wheeler back on the mound. And, of course, we'll talk about, it's Eagles-Cowboys week on top of Red October. So we'll dive into the birds and the boys, if you will. And, of course, we'll wrap up the episode with Survivor 43, another episode in the books, and another week where our podcast pick is still cruising right along. But before we get started, make sure you guys are following us on the socials, Twitter, Instagram, at UndergroundPHI. You can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/UndergroundSportsPHI. Make sure you follow Matt on Twitter, at Matt Castorina. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Check out our website, undergroundsportsphiladelphia.com. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Guys, this is the first time we have had postseason baseball in our podcast history. We know the loud and proud Underground Sports Philadelphia fans want to see us continue to thrive. So subscribe to that podcast feed. Get us on the charts. Be a friend, tell a friend, and go subscribe. Apple, Spotify. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel as well, where you get full video episodes of every Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast. That includes this show, Top Bins with Matt and Dom, Outside the Box with myself and DJ, Get in the Hole with two lowly, sad, beautiful Mets fans, Steve and Ben, and, of course, Streamer Season and the Dan Russo Show, Eagles Enemy, everything on our YouTube channel. Go subscribe, smash that like button, ring the bell icon, comment down below your thoughts on the Phils, Eagles, Union, Survivor, whatever it may be. Leave it in the comment section, and best comments will get read on each week's show. And, of course, if you're watching live, it's twitch.tv/UndergroundSportsPHI every single Wednesday night with myself and Matt for this podcast. Big thank you to our sponsors, Main Auto LLC, Ducharme's Pro Foot, Security 21 Security Systems, Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated, the Dental Wellness Center at Vineland, Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. Guys, just because it's fall doesn't mean the sun's not out. We're experiencing all 4 seasons in 24 hours pretty much this time of year, and you still got to protect your eyes. And when you're indoors watching the Phils, the Eagles, the Union, or Survivor, you got to put your Blue Light Plus glasses on from Tomahawk Shades. You guys can get yours at TomahawkShades.com and use code USP for 25% off your order at TomahawkShades.com. That's code USP, TomahawkShades.com. You get 25% off your order. Kenwood Beer, it's the official beer of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Go celebrate with some ice-cold Kennies after every Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, and Union victory. Ice Cold Kenny. Use the all-new and improved Kenny tracker to see who's got Kenwood beer on tap in the Philadelphia area. You got to be 21 or older to do so, and, of course, please drink responsibly. And, of course, our pals over at Bino. You guys can go to binoboard.com. New boards dropping every single Friday around noon Eastern time. The newest one is that Arsenal board, and it looks pretty sweet. They'll be shipping out November 14th if you got your hands on them. And you can use code BINYOUSP to get your very own board at BINYOBoard.com. You get 10% off with our code BINYOUSP. Shout out to Bino Board, doing the damn thing, leading into the World Cup. We're about a month away, Matt. Month away from the World Cup.
It's shocking.
It's wild. But it is Red October in Philadelphia. Matt, since the last time you were on the show, the Phillies punched their ticket to the NLDS, sweeping the St. Louis Cardinals. Alex Coffey, shout out to the patron saint of Philadelphia journalism, finding the Phillies clubhouse playlist and posting it for the people. I will pull that up and we'll go through some of the songs on there. But, Matt, the Phils are in the NLDS, up 1-0 against the Braves in the series right now with Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola looming. And the vibes are just at an all-time high right now for this team.
Yeah. Sweep the Cardinals and I think exercise a few demons and guarantee at that point that you're at least going to get one home playoff game. Now you're guaranteed to get at least two after. Steal has like a negative connotation. I would not say it in like a negative way that the Phillies stole game one, but I think going into that matchup, you know, the pitching definitely favors the Braves just in general in this series. They have definitely the superior bullpen, and you know, as far as like starting rotation, I would say it's a little more even. You might like nod the Braves way a little bit because you know the top two I would say are pretty square, but outside of that, Braves probably a bit. Anyway, Ranger Suarez versus Max Fried. Think a regular person would assume that the 7-1 scoreline might be the other way around.
Right.
But Phillies got on them early. Definitely shook Fried's confidence a little bit. I think that's fair to say. And yeah, I mean, saw the classic Phillies bullpen. You know, as we got into the later stages, definitely gave us some heart attacks. And definitely saw as well like how good that Braves bullpen can be. The Phillies really struggled for about half that game to get any offense going. But all that said, you know, if you had given me the option of taking game one, taking away like home field advantage, I would have paid a lot of money for that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the Phillies would have too. And I mean, yeah, you know, you set up now for Wheeler and Nola in 2 straight now. And that's just a massive turn in momentum in this series. Especially because Spencer Strider, like you don't know. His availability seems like really up in the air. Certainly not going to be starting. It doesn't seem like this series. You know, at best, like relief pitching. He's got like an oblique strain he's been dealing with for over a month now.
Can't send him on a rehab assignment.
Right. So it's like, you know, that's really probably been their best player for, you know, most of this season, Spencer Strider. So to not have him is a huge loss. And I mean, also, you know, like both teams had to really dive into their bullpen last night. And obviously, again, you know, the bullpen certainly favors the Braves, but having to go, you know, 5 innings of relief pitching is, you know, that's not great for the Braves. Like
and they also don't have their best left-handed reliever because Tyler Matzek's out with an injury.
So I mean, like if you're a Braves fan in this situation, it's I'm thinking if the Phillies were in this situation, right? Like I'd be a little more nervous, but can't forget too that this is obviously a team that has played the Phillies well a lot this year. World Series champions. This happened last year in their series with the Brewers, and they won 3 straight against. So, you know, like, you can't take it for granted. But, I mean, it really, I don't know, it couldn't have gotten any better. The only way it got better is if it just stayed 7-1.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's the only way I think this is.
Freaking Fraggle-looking Matt Olson hitting that home run made
by the way,
heart sink.
Did not seem like, I saw him hit it, I was like,
yeah.
Pop up. Like, and then
it
was just
carrying and carrying and carrying. I was like, what the hell's going on?
I don't know what happened there. I found this interesting. So I was like reading on the Score. They've got this article about does rest matter in MLB playoffs. So they went back and looked at like teams that have had rest, you know, at least 4 days or more of rest going into a series. And then they cut it down to where one team was not coming off 4 days rest and the other team was. So there were 40 series going back to the beginning of the wild card era in baseball, right? So into the 90s. So 40 series that qualified for that criteria where one team has at least 4 days rest, and the other team did not. The teams with at least 4 days rest went 19-21 in game ones, and they only won 17 of the 40 series. Of the 23 series where the more rested team lost, 13 of those teams lost to an opponent with a worse regular season record. So, and teams that had won at least 10 games more than their opponent were 10-1 in game ones and 8-3 in the series overall. But, that's how it goes. The interesting result. So this obviously doesn't necessarily apply to the Braves and the Phillies, but teams that were within 9 games of each other in regular season, the better rested teams were 8-19 in game ones and 7-20 in the overall series results. Teams from that group that played game 1 at home went 4-11 and won just 5 of the 15 series. So, it's more even than you think. You would. I think our general thought on this would be having 4 or 5 days rest is good because you can reset the lineup, you can get all your bullpen rested, you can start with your top guy right away. But that historical data has shown that is not necessarily the truth. That it's actually a little more even. In fact, really, just going by the numbers, typically teams with the rest have performed worse. So
we are live on Twitch right now too every Wednesday night. Twitch.tv/undergroundsportsphi. JRO8080 in the comments said rests for the week, Matt.
I gotta agree. There is something to it, and it's not I feel like we've always mentioned it with baseball, the hot teams, go in. We were talking about with the Cardinals, right? What they've done in our lifetimes, where they win the World Series in '83 when team, they just get hot at the right time. So I do think there's something to baseball with rhythm. And with playing, if not every day, every other day at least. And yeah, if you maybe take those few days off, who knows? And it's not like a one size fits all, of course, because there have been plenty of teams that have that rest and it works very well for them. But I think it introduces a variable maybe that we don't always expect. So I think I think the Phillies have put themselves in such a strong position now to actually get out of this series. I mean, really, that you're going to go Friday afternoon and have this series be 1-1 or the Phillies with a chance to go to an NLCS, which is...
in their first home playoff game since 2011.
Right. And the negative part of me says, there's no bigger stage for there to be a collapse, than that. But, again,
they're playing with house money, which I think alleviates a lot of that.
The pressure that is on the Phillies is non-existent. And I could even say the pressure on the Braves is not. They're coming off as World Series champions. It might be different if they still not captured that prize. But most of this team was a part of that winning team last year. So it's not I think largely speaking, this Braves team doesn't have a ton of pressure either. It's not like a Mets situation, right, where it's you just haven't gotten over that line yet. You haven't really had that success. So, this Braves team is good. We can't lose sight of that. But again, if you had offered any Phillies fan their choice of how the series was going to go, that was it. Taking game 1 it's a huge advantage. It's massive.
Yeah. JRO8080 in the comments again said there is something to be said about breaking a rhythm. You spend months, wake up, game, travel, game, repeat. There is a, timely routine that comes to baseball because of how long the season is, and to break that up. And we're watching MLB Network right now, and there's a quote from Brian Snitker saying that I don't think we needed 5 days off. Maybe
you could have given the division to the
yeah.
Give it to us.
That was your choice. You made that choice. Yeah. You reap what you sow, Brian Snitker.
I think Mets fans would actually really appreciate if they had 5 days, but to put the nail in the coffin on the Mets, which the opening of this week's Getting the Hole podcast, 2 brilliant golf brains who just unfortunately are Mets fans, our boys, Stephen McAvoy and Ben Pirro. Steve was at Game 3. I can't tell you how exhilarating it was to just watch the Mets fold under pressure, absolutely demoralized by the San Diego Padres, going full-blown, just trying to pull out any stops with Buck Showalter going and checking Joe Musgrove's ears. So bad.
And I think the funniest thing was, everybody saying, come on, ump, you could have at least pulled a quarter out from behind his ears to make it a show. And then, Manny Machado getting into it with his former manager, Buck Showalter, Musgrove doing the smell the finger thing. It was just pure drama, and that's what makes playoff baseball incredible. And we've said it all year long. The Mets were going to fold. We tried to tell you.
I'm not gonna say I don't take pleasure in being right, because I do, but it's tough. I mean, just 2 straight seasons of like real heartbreak for the Mets fans. So I don't really feel bad for them, because they weren't graceful in any way, shape, or form, and they haven't been for pretty much my entire lifetime, and have nothing to show for it. And I'm not a big fan of like, well, win a ring and you could talk kind of mentality, but it's also like, I don't know, maybe you don't deserve it. Maybe
I think,
until your behavior improves.
Yeah, go sit in the naughty corner. I think
did like the Diaz getting the trumpets down for real. That's tough.
Mr. Met out there with the trumpet too. Like,
it's tough when you have a bit like that, because you obviously can't shy away from it now. You have to do it. But it's like, this is the danger with anyone other than like Mariano Rivera having like a big like entrance, because it's like, yeah, man, it's like kind of embarrassing actually. Like I don't know what choice they had. I think they have to do the trumpets at this point. Like, but it's like, it is objectively hilarious.
I think the best thing was somebody edited together Timmy Trumpet playing his song at Citi Field in August, but instead of it being his song, it was Taps.
I really loved that one. So rest in peace to the Mets. Hey man, there's always next year.
And it sounds like they're gonna lose everybody too, because DeGrom is uncertain. Edwin Diaz said, "I'm going to whoever pays me the most money." That loser with the most punchable face, Brandon Nimmo, is a free agent.
This was
their year.
Scherzer's 38 and didn't look good.
No.
In that, and that's kind of been a regular occurrence now for him in the playoffs, like late in the season. I mean, it's just
and what a middle finger to DeGrom to not let him start game 1.
Yeah,
kind of knowing that Scherzer was still a bit injured.
I see it both ways.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would assume they went to
available.
DeGrom and said, "Hey, we're gonna start
I'm
Scherzer."
sure he was involved in that, but
man, it's gonna be
DeGrom's
so
probably
funny when he leaves.
Only player I think you could really say like played well,
100%, and he didn't even have his best.
Yeah, not his best performance. I just think it's I mean, this was kind of their season. This was the season for them if they were gonna really like make a statement, win a World Series. This was kind of the year. Like, it's gonna be tough. But they have. I mean, we know they're gonna spend money still, so it's not like
it's gonna be hilarious if DeGrom leaves, though.
Well, then you have to hear from Mets fans that he actually isn't the best pitcher of all time. That he's not Sandy Koufax.
We just gotta hope he doesn't go to the Braves.
I would be so. I shouldn't say it, but like, I'd be pretty surprised if he goes to the Braves, because he is a I want money type of player. I think
he's a Georgia boy, though.
Sure, but can we just talk about the Braves and how they like they signed Spencer Strider to 6 for $75?
Who Alex Anthopoulos has to be like,
what like compromise are they getting on these players? Like, what?
Like, good grief!
How do they get these guys to do this?
Like, they are the Braves front office is the living embodiment of they can't keep getting away with this.
I just don't understand it.
It is unbelievable.
6 for 75. It's just.
Like, I get you're young and like he's gonna be a rookie of the year, split with his teammate who signed for another ridiculous
if the dude
deal.
Played the full season, he'd be a Cy Young candidate.
Yeah,
probably wins the Cy Young. So fucking stupid.
Like, the fact that like it all started when they signed Acuna to a 10-year, $100 million contract, and everybody was like, "What the fuck is Ronald Acuna Jr. doing?"
I don't know.
They've signed like 7 guys to contracts that are well below their market value.
I don't understand it. There must be something really nice about Atlanta. I don't know.
It's unreal. But I don't think steal has as big of a negative connotation in the sense that the Phillies did steal game 1, against the Braves, because the way that the pitching went for both teams, like especially the Phillies, only getting 3+ innings from Ranger Suarez, 3 2/3 I think it was that he went. You had to dive into that bullpen, which is beyond dicey outside of 2.5 guys right now, if you want to include Eflin, who's made things very nerve-wracking.
I'd like to include Eflin in the dicey quadrant.
And you're without David Robertson now because he unfortunately
old man injury.
celebrating a home run gets injured and is off the NLDS roster. But man, I do have to say, Andrew Bellotti showed some fucking stones coming into that game.
Speaking about being underpaid, minor league deal coming in.
That's two guys the Phillies have been able to steal from the Tampa Bay Rays, though.
Yeah, which
Bellotti and Jose Alvarado.
There's a team to steal from.
What did you make of Jose Alvarado and his former teammate also apparently chirping with one another?
I don't. Seems weird, especially because it's a weird. I don't know that I've really seen that all that much.
No.
To be honest, but
and apparently it's a thing in Atlanta where a lot of pitchers feel like the mound like flattens out quickly, so their plant foot is like not exactly where they feel it should be, and they're trying to prevent injury. And then the guy from the Braves was teammates with Alvarado in 2019 in Tampa and was basically telling Jose Alvarado he's got to have more respect for the game, this, that, and the third. And Alvarado's like, I'm going to talk to him because my pitching this season has spoken for itself, and I'm going to get the services that I need done.
Bench players talking like starters. You hate it, like, it's just, come on.
Team Jose, baby.
Yeah, all the way. But, yeah, Bellotti looked really good. I mean, that is going to be the challenge for the Phillies in this. I mean, there's going to be a few, but really the bullpen, I think, is where this team. You're going to, I mean, it sucks to say, but you're going to need the offense to be that well.
Yeah.
Because I saw a lot of Braves fans like wetting their pants about the left on base. First of all, welcome to the club.
Mm-hmm.
Not really glad to have you, but they left 9 on base. The Phillies left 8 on base. You would think that they were using this weird number 19 where it counts for essentially every time someone got out, not the inning ending left on base, to inflate the number. Which again, I don't understand why you're inflating it. The Phillies left quite a few on base as well. It really, I know definitely the Braves got unlucky in some clutch situations. I think there was 3 straight innings of if not fully loaded bases, but guys on the corners where the Braves struck out. But yes, some things went the Phillies' way, but I don't think it was quite nearly as fluky as Braves fans want it to be. But all that said, feels great. Feels great to know too that you're gonna get 2 at Philly.
And the baseball nerds, they were eating their words yesterday, Matt. Nick Castellanos with one of the best defensive plays of his career, if not the best, and internet viral meme sensation of him just turtle backing out in the outfield and saves the game. If
that ball hits the ground, the Braves are winning that. Because
if it goes by him,
that's a triple, maybe even inside of the park, and then you're just, I don't know, the Phillies get swept.
Yeah,
honestly,
just perfect glove placement and comes up.
I don't want to say this too early because it's unfair to put this on anyone, to put this man's name on anyone. That could, and I mean a huge capital CAOULD could be a Matt Stairs moment. Truly. That could be a moment that you not quite Nick Castellanos is not Mets, but
right.
That could be a moment that if this ends in magic,
it'll be a moment in Phillies postseason history.
That is on the 2022 Phillies compilation.
Yeah.
It's way too early to
right.
be even this, but those are the types of moments that truly they swing series. That is Victorino's grand slam. Those are the types of moments that just matter. And it was the ultimate spirit killer too.
Mm-hmm.
It was just because the Braves were surging at that point,
and everyone thought it got by him.
I thought it hit the ground. I thought there was going to be a review, and it was no, he actually didn't make the play. I really thought that's where that was headed, and then you saw that. I mean, it's just perfect defensive play. Him and Bohm defensively.
Can we talk about our boy?
Bohm has truly been built for the playoffs. Bohm has been the 3rd best Philly.
It's pretty wild that in the wild card round there was Gold Glove third baseman and then Nolan Arenado.
Well, I'll tell you that Arenado and Goldschmidt really shriveled up in that
series.
Series.
Not the first time they've
unfortunately though. I don't really feel bad for them specifically.
Not the first time those two didn't have a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, afraid to take shots. Unfortunately, a few Phillies can relate to that.
Alec Boehm included.
Yeah, present company included. Yeah, Boehm.
He's been unbelievable.
Unreal. I just say.
Locker room celebrations with him, unbelievable.
Yeah, he's got I don't know. He's got something about him, but
I'm gonna put when the Phillies win this series.
Jesus,
Alec
man, we are really diving in.
Alec Boehm's gonna be naked in the clubhouse. He's gone from
We can only hope.
one little not a Kenwood beer can to shirt off, goggles on. He's evolving like Charmander right now.
Yeah, I don't know if this delay helps or hinders the Phillies too. I actually think too, like sneaky help to the Phillies.
Agreed.
That not only this delay, but that the game 1 is in an afternoon, because you're not getting the most like energetic. You're still getting an energetic crowd. You're still getting like a packed attendance. Obviously, it was the same with St. Louis, but like when it's at like 1:00 start, it's kind of
which is embarrassing to baseball, by the way.
I hate it. It sucks. But I also think they're like their hands are kind of tied because they want to have all 4 on the same day, which I get. And then you have like obviously like two, like you have like West Coast teams that you need to. It's tough. There's no like because the really like the Padres and LA have to be playing at the late slot. I get it. And then from there, you're
gonna
put
put the
Seattle,
Yankees in prime time.
You're gonna put the Yankees, and you have Seattle, and I kind of get it. It's tough.
It is. Not that I ever feel bad for New York sports fans, but it was kind of crummy that Game 1 ALDS in New York, same start time as season opener at the Garden for the New York Rangers.
Yeah, that's
kind of poor scheduling there, but
concrete
also
jungle's where dreams are made of. That's
Phillies' only road team to win Game 1.
Yeah, well, the Phillies have also been on the road for like 3 weeks.
14 straight games.
Like, Phillies have been away from home for a long time. Like, they're getting, like, hazard pay for being away this long, I think. But I do think the Phillies playing
I think it helps.
those games during the day, like, we don't like to talk about, like, those types of advantages because it's harder to, like, define, but I do think there's something to it, And, I mean, even tonight with the delay,
I think the delay helps them so much because I tweeted this too. I said, I'd much rather the delay happen now before the game starts than during the game and you waste a Zach Wheeler start.
Right. And I mean, on top of that too, I think, again, it kind of just has the potential to kill the momentum a little bit. Like people show up and expect to, get right in the game and they're excited for it. And now you've had people kind of waiting around for like 3.5 hours. And, it's just tough. So I'm just saying I think the Phillies have had some things go their way, but like a good team, and I think something we've complained about with the Phillies, good teams capitalize on the breaks.
Yeah.
Like every team gets breaks. Every team gets a little bit of luck. That's just part of baseball, frankly, any sport really, but you have to be able to like capitalize on those chances, and the Phillies have done that so far.
Yeah, and game just got underway, so if anything happens while we're live, we'll keep you guys up to date. But shout out to Alex Coffey doing the Lord's work and getting the playlist that the Phillies have in the clubhouse via Garrett Stubbs, who, according to Bryson Stutt's Instagram Live, Garrett Stubbs does not have Spotify Premium, so ads were playing. It was very, very funny. Matt, I also find it hilarious that this playlist now has 69 songs. We've got quite the list. Yeah. Obviously, the number one hit is the Callum Scott Tiesto remix of "Dancing on My Own,"
which is just a great original song.
Yeah,
and then the remix is even like
the original by Robin, great,
fantastic.
The remix is unbelievable, and I need nothing more than 40,000 Phillies fans in unison, just blaring, blasting, singing this song on Friday.
Don't play "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" in the 7th inning. Just play
7th inning stretch. It is "Dancing on My Own." We've got "Love Tonight" by Shouse. We've got "Cold Heart," the PS1 remix with Elton John, Dua Lipa, and PS1.
Fantastic.
"Dick Down in Dallas."
Gonna need an explanation on that. But.
"Pop Bottles" by Birdman and Lil Wayne. Mickey Avalon's "My Dick."
Terrific.
"I'm Me" by Lil Wayne.
One of my favorite Lil Wayne songs.
It's a great one. Asher Roth's I Love College.
Well, you got to have White Kid rap in there somewhere.
Lupe Fiasco's The Show Goes On.
Yeah.
Whatever You Like by T.I. Flo Rida, My House. T.I. and Rihanna's Live Your Life. Ho by Ludacris.
Half of these were just soundtracks to movies in like 2011.
I saw Devin Caney tweeted, the Phillies playlist is literally out of a 2009 frat house, and I'm not mad about it. Tenacious D's Fuck Her Gently.
Yeah.
Umbrella by Rihanna. My Humps by the Black Eyed Peas. Let's see. Party Up by DMX. Dreams and Nightmares is on the list. Trophies by Young Money and Drake. Jason Derulo's Riding Solo. Feel So Close Radio Edit by Calvin Harris.
They can't even swear words. I mean, come on.
Levels by Avicii.
Rest in peace.
Best I Ever Had by Drake. Hardened to Paint by Waka Flocka Flame. 679 by Fetty Wap. Buy You a Drink. We've got Akon, Snoop Dogg, I Wanna Love You. Levitating by Dua Lipa and DaBaby. Fergalicious. I'm So Paid by Akon, Lil Wayne, and Jeezy.
Only Bryce and Castellanos get to sing that one.
50 Cent's Disco Inferno. Hot in Here. Turn My Swag On. The Destructo remix of Jolene.
Okay.
We've got some Afro Man on the playlist as well. Birthday Sex by Jeremiah that was added 2 days ago. And the most recent song added...
Whose birthday was 2 days ago? That's
a good question. 3 hours ago, Diplo and Sleepy Tom, Be Right There, just added to the playlist to make number 69.
Okay. I think that's a hint. Be Right There in Philly.
Be Right There. So shout out to Alex Coffey doing the Lord's work and getting the playlist from Garrett Stubbs. We also got another member of the Castellanos crew on national TV on the Fox pregame broadcast today. Grandpa Leonard doing a little hit on TV. Absolutely hilarious. And he's just a little proud of Nick right now. The last 12 to 13 years have been fantastic. Just very funny stuff from the Castellanos family as always. But man, it just feels good. Like this past week or so, week and a half, I feel like has been what we've been like yearning for and dreaming for since 2011.
Yeah, this is what you hope for. You hope to have playoffs back. This is what I hope for when I just wanted to see the Phillies in the playoffs, and now you're getting even a little extra. Like you see that first series, and now knowing that they're gonna get the experience of having like a home playoff game again is just it's fantastic. And, you know, this is exactly like playoff baseball is just so much fun. It's so much fun to be a part of it. It's great. I'm so happy to have it back. Even if this series doesn't end the way we wanted to, and it still certainly could. I would call this season a success just based off of where we've gotten to, because just getting back into the playoffs, like being that established team again, is such a huge step forward. Because the team had gone 10 years without it. I mean, it's just, that's shocking, you know. And sort of, I think too, if you had said to someone in 2012 that this was the last time for a decade the Phillies would be in the playoffs, people would have really taken aback by that. It certainly, I wouldn't say the writing was on the wall in 2012, but it certainly felt like there's going to be a few years where you know, we're kind of out of the great times and it's going to be, you know, a little rough again. But I don't think anyone would expect 10 years wait to be back. But yeah, it's just supremely amazing.
And on top of it, Rob Thompson, the interim tag has been removed. He will be the manager for at least the next 2 seasons, signed through 2024, which oddly enough is the same length of contract that Dave Dombrowski is signed through. So he'll be here for the next 2 years. And like we've said it all summer long since he got, you know, brought in to be the interim manager all the way through till now. Like he earned the shit out of being the manager of this team.
Yeah. Turned the season around. We wouldn't be in the playoffs without him. And I think, 2 years is like a reasonable extension too, where it's like, that's, you know, I'm not discounting anything he did this season, but if, you know, if there was maybe some variance, some flukiness to it, you know, you're not like locked in long-term to this. But I mean, he certainly proved himself. Like this team again was, you know, maybe closer to the division race if they have Rob Thompson, the entire season. So, obviously so much to look forward to in the next week, however long this like series goes, but and whatever's beyond. But even if you're just looking at next season, having gotten back to the playoffs, being in this moment again, like having these guys get this experience again, and some of them, most of them, really for the first time.
And the first time as a collective team.
Right, like it's just huge, and it's something to build from.
And, it gives you an opportunity, too, because who knows if Dombrowski stays beyond 2024, so you might have a new general manager, president of baseball operations in the fold if everything, with the rumors of Nashville getting a team and Dombrowski being on like that advisory board there, if he ends up leaving to go to Nashville, you'll see what happens there. But I think every single player who spoke about it and, was asked about Rob Thompson, they had nothing but just like joy and excitement that he is going to be here for at least the next 2 years, which is very exciting. And that's all you've wanted, mostly since Charlie Manuel was like the relatable manager who every single player on the team just gravitates towards. And that's what the Phillies have now in Rob Thompson. And that's just another benefit for this team, not only for now, but going into 2023. And with this team making the playoffs, I think having been on the road for 14 straight games too, like that helps just team camaraderie with this team being together as long as they have. And, not that we're counting this season being done, but 2023 I think is going to only be that much better for this team, being that they're getting all of this experience now.
Yeah, I mean, you've got great stability too now. I think that can't be discounted either. And I think you've just got a much more firm sense of this team's identity a little bit. And I think, again, you just can't discount, finally, breaking that seal of, not being in the playoffs, not winning a series. Bryce Harper's first playoff series win. You can't, I don't think you can discount what that mentally does for you as an athlete. So there's a lot to look forward to. This doesn't feel like flash in the pan type stuff. It felt like we finally built to this moment, to this level where you can be a playoff team again. You can be in the NLDS again. You can dream of being in the NLCS in the World Series again. Those dreams could obviously still be taken away from you, but it felt for a long time we weren't going to even get back to this, just being in the playoffs again, being on Fox again, just being back is, it really is great.
And on top of just the success right now of the Phillies, I don't know if it's just elevated because our team is in it, but sitting down and watching all of these postseason games, they have all been so entertaining.
Yeah.
There's been comebacks. There's been, 15-inning rallies in Cleveland with a walk-off home run by a rookie.
I was watching the Mariners Astros yesterday. And that was a whirlwind of a game. That was almost, mirrored in a lot of ways, I think, the Phillies game. Yeah. Except that the Astros ultimately, the walk-off was the walk-off.
I think that ball's still in the air that Yordan Alvarez hit.
I just absolutely smashed it.
Good
Off
grief.
of Robbie Ray, no less.
I saw a stat, too, from John Boy. Yordan's home run that he hit yesterday was the first walk-off home run in the postseason that was for more than one run. So the Astros were down, what was it, 7-5, I think it was, and they ended up winning 8-7. Every other postseason walk-off home run had been either a tie game or it went to tie it, and then they ended up winning by one.
Jesus. What a guy.
It's crazy. But the Phils are doing the thing. We'll keep you guys updated here as well as we head to the second inning. Phillies about to come back up to bat. Oh, and also the Phillies are doing this where going into yesterday, Kyle Schwarber and Rhys Hoskins were combined 0 for 21.
They still have been great.
Yeah.
Kyle Schwarber's sacrifice, whatever stat that is really good, though.
It's through the roof.
He's had, 5 or 6 sacrifice, flyouts or something. He's just... he's not doing the best, but he's getting runs in somehow.
Man.
You're a little confused, but he got the spirit.
And I think it's awesome that it's the bottom of the lineup, too, that's been majorly contributing, whether it's Gene Segura, Matt Vierling, Bryson Stott, Edmundo Sosa. I don't think we can even put into words how valuable it is to have Edmundo Sosa back from the injury that he had. Because not only can he come in and pinch run for Alec Boehm with his speed on the base paths, he has unbelievable defensive skills at third base, and he can get on base himself. Like, if you need him to get on base, he can do it, and I think that's just so valuable for this team. As Bryce Harper now hitting 500 in the postseason, Matt.
Give us something.
Getting some good hacks here.
Yeah.
It's just an exciting time to be a Phillies fan. The Mets are dead, and it was just the best possible outcome, I think, from the wild card round. We can, as Phillies fans, we can say our team ended the careers of two Major League Baseball legends.
Which is just great. God, it feels
Exercised all of the demons.
My favorite was reading some Cardinals fans talking about Aaron Nola before the game. Like, he had a down year, and it's like, the dude's gonna fucking finish top 3 in Cy Young.
Aaron Nola was the first pitcher since 1880 to have over 230 strikeouts and less than 30 walks. Like, come on. Here
Bryce,
we go,
that's
Bryce.
a triple.
Come on, Bryce.
Get on your bike. All right.
Smart base running.
Which is, you have to say, a little bit of rarity for Bryce.
He was safe in that game, though.
Yeah, let's not. Well, the Braves fans too were upset about a missed call in Game 1. Really, they're the first team ever to have a questionable call against them.
Good grief!
First team to ever deal with that kind of adversity. It's crazy, isn't it? But yeah, our Phillies doing the Lord's work.
Our Phils, babe. We'll keep you guys updated with everything as we now head over to the Gridiron, and it's brought to you by our friends over at Trophy Smack. Shout out to Trophy Smack doing the dang thing. They are we muted? Check. I think we're still going on our audio end, but I'm gonna check for the people on video, because that's no good. All right, I think we're back. Apologies to everybody watching live on Twitch. A little technical difficulties there, but that wouldn't be an Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast without it. But, with this team too, I think it's only a positive. It's the weirdest positive you can have that Schwarber and Reese are 0 for 21. Obviously, Reese got a hit yesterday. But the fact that they haven't gotten going, but the rest of the team has, and you have the bottom of the lineup going, from Sosa to Gene Segura, Stott, the rest of the guys at the bottom of the lineup. That's how you win postseason games, and that's how you win series, is with the most unlikely candidates stepping up at the most crucial times.
Yeah. Your top 3 guys are obviously, you want them to be hitting well. And I think, too, we've seen with really, Reese and Schwarber, too, they go through these hot and cold periods. You just kind of sit on your hands and hope, especially if, Hoskins gets hot. I mean, that, truly, again, do not want to get ahead of myself, but if you're, talking about the Phillies' path to, really doing something special, a Reese Hoskins, 2-week burner that we've seen is how it gets there.
Yeah. And, I mean, going into this weekend, from Phillies to Eagles, this weekend is going to be an all-time Philly sports weekend. You have first Phillies postseason game at Citizens Bank Park since 2011, which I did find out, too. Apparently, the rally towels that will be handed out will not be white. They will be red, because white rally towels have been banned in Major League Baseball due to players claiming that it had distracted them, they've lost the ball in the air because of the white rally towels, which I was like, all right, that makes sense.
Okay.
So the Phillies rally towels on Friday will be red. And, I mean, if Game 4 is needed, you'll have Saturday postseason baseball leading into Sunday Night Football, Eagles-Cowboys at the Link. And we're going to talk about the Eagles now. It's brought to you by our homies over at Trophy Smack. Elevate your fantasy smack talk with our friends at Trophy Smack. They've got trophies, belts, rings, you name it. It's on their website. You've seen them on Shark Tank. And they're just here to upgrade your fantasy smack talk. And every single league, you need new hardware most of the time. So go to TrophySmack.com. And you can actually use our link. It's in the description on YouTube. It's trophysmack.com/underground. And you can support us with everything going on there. With Trophy Smack, get your rings, get your trophies, your belts, and trophysmack.com/underground to get the best fantasy smack talk for your fantasy football leagues. Eagles are 5-0, Matt. Kyler Murray is Ben Simmons. Shout out, not a sponsor, PointsBet Sportsbook, getting on board with the wave. Eagles win 20-17. My biggest takeaway from that game, outside of the game, Super Bowl's in Arizona this year.
First time the Eagles have ever won in that stadium, too.
Since 2001, first time in Arizona. I don't understand how they're holding a Super Bowl there with the conditions that field was in.
Yeah.
The grass was clumping up, and I saw a tweet, too, that apparently the Cardinals host training camp at their home stadium. They play their preseason games there, and then
where else are they going to go? It's the desert.
Right, but from the fact that my perspective is, and obviously there are pros and cons to turf, it's wild to me that a team in a desert area just doesn't have an artificial turf, and they're doing this whole hybrid greenhouse thing. And
maybe humans weren't meant to collectivize in the middle of the desert.
It is pretty insane.
Maybe we just weren't meant to do that.
It led to some injury scares. Jason Kelce, thankfully, okay. But man, that field was gross, and the Eagles escaped with a win thanks to Cameron Dicker, the kicker, who continues to add on to. I think we brought this up last week. The Eagles have won a offensive player, defensive player, special teams player of the week, some sort of award, weekly award every single week of the season. Cameron Dicker, your Week 5 NFC Special Teams Player of the Week.
You love to see it. The Kyler Murray play, I think, is the biggest takeaway, because felt like the Eagles might have been because, if he really makes that first down, you're talking about you're talking maybe even about a touch. They still had 30-something seconds. Mm-hmm. Obviously no timeouts, but you can probably get at least 2 shots if you really want to be risky.
Yeah.
But who knows with the Cardinals play calling? They probably would have had 3 delayed games in that time. But someone's got to be in his ear though to tell him that. And I've heard that he saw on some screen that it said that he got the first down. That's
apparently
why
the down markers were changed to 1st and 10.
Right. So. But so it's tough. It's a tough situation. But I think also it was a 43-yard field goal, which is not
terrible.
Not a gimme, but it's also, I don't know. I think that's a makeable.
In today's day and age, 40s is 10 years ago 30s.
Yeah, and it's obviously too in a much more controlled environment. You're not in Buffalo or the Cleveland windstorm or something.
Seattle.
You can make it happen, but. Listen,
big win.
Survived, and I think each week this team kind of just proves themselves a little bit more. Biggest test is this week against Dallas, whose defense has looked excellent to start the year. I think even the Cardinals defense, which hasn't looked amazing this season, part of that has been injuries. They've gotten a lot of guys back healthy.
Yeah,
you saw them, I think, have some improved performances against the Eagles in that game, and the Cowboys. You're talking about. Again, just a really tough defense that can make a lot of plays, can get at the quarterback. So, looking forward to it, though, because it's if it wasn't Bills and Chiefs on, too, it'd be the game of the weekend. But when you have a game like that, it's two tough, 2 top games this weekend.
And it's very fun that it is Sunday Night Football. It's going to be all eyes on everybody. Cooper Rush apparently still going to be the quarterback, according to Jerry Jones. I did see this quote today from former Eagle and now Dallas Cowboy Jason Peters, and it is quite funny because I took it the way I believe Jason Peters intends it to be taken. It is written, so it comes off kind of weird, but this is from John Machota, who covers the Cowboys for The Athletic. Jason Peters on Cowboys-Eagles rivalry, dislike between fan bases. Quote, I just know Philly fans are fucking idiots when it comes to the camaraderie and the Cowboys. Any team, really. They know that. They pride themselves on being nasty. Philly fans are the wildest fans out there. If you know who Jason Peters is, just on a surface level as a player from the time he was here, you know he's complimenting the fans in that mindset. And having heard stories about how Jason Peters is off the field, he's complimenting Eagles fans.
I immediately was like, yeah, it's a like, yeah. I don't know.
And it's gonna come off, in poor taste because it's being reported on by Cowboys reporters. It's being tweeted. It's not like an audio clip. But Jason Peters means 110% well with that quote.
100%.
I'm excited for this game because, this is when we did our preseason predictions and everything, this was one of the litmus tests going in. We've always said it on this show that you're almost guaranteed to split with the Cowboys every single year. And if the Eagles can win this one, you're not truly on paper concerned about a game coming out of the bye week until that game after Thanksgiving against the Packers, which who knows what they'll look like by then after losing to the Giants in London. But, I mean, on paper, that's like really the next concerning game because after this Cowboys game, you have the bye week. You come out of the bye against now the Kenny Pickett quarterbacked Pittsburgh Steelers. Then you have a short week, Thursday Night Football against the Houston Texans. And then you get an extra day after the short week because you play Monday Night Football against maybe Carson Wentz because quarterback's apparently been an issue for the Commanders.
Really?
According to Ron Rivera, that's been the biggest discrepancy between the Commanders and everybody else in the NFC East.
And that's a fair.
Did you see that clip?
I did, and I saw him immediately kind of have to like, well, and what I mean by that.
And then
that's when the intrusive thoughts kind of just like you just say like when you've been kind of building up towards saying something and someone asks you and you finally like, I'm not gonna hide it. I'm just gonna say what's on my mind.
And then after the Commanders, you have a Colts team who Frank Reich might get fired before that game happens.
Probably should have been fired last year.
Yeah,
I think we talked about that in the season preview. Like he got a little lucky at Carson Wentz as a quarterback, and that it's kind of easy to scapegoat him. But I mean, Carson Wentz was also his choice.
Yes,
and Matt Ryan also his choice. So
Phillip Rivers was the Colts' choice. Like they just cannot get the quarterback right.
Isn't it crazy that Phillip Rivers actually had the most success
out
of the three? Like, he at least made the playoffs. they were playing like unreal.
And speaking of NFL too, which we'll have our episode of Eagles Enemies later this week, going really in depth behind enemy lines for Eagles Cowboys. But the excitement of this weekend in Philadelphia is the thing that just has me stoked because it's three big time, games going into this weekend. And then on the wraparound Thursday, you have first Union playoff game as well. So, I mean, the next week or so is going to be, at the very least, super electric for Philadelphia sports. Matt, I saw this today. This is from Jay Willis, who is the editor-in-chief at Balls and Strikes. He tweeted this out and said, "Very disappointed that not a single one of you alerted me to the fact that Kirk Cousins filed an amicus brief in the Supreme Court's praying football coach case."
Wait, reset that?
Sure. Apparently Kirk Cousins, among other former and current NFL quarterbacks, which there's a reason that I'm bringing this up too, filed an amicus brief in the Supreme Court's praying football coach case.
I don't know. I know about the case, though. For anyone who's not heard about this case, it's recently settled. This coach, really what happened is this coach was praying after the games, directly after the games too, and this was a public school, was in like his like coach attire with the school like emblem and everything on him, was praying at the 50-yard line with his originally by himself, then other players started joining in, then the whole like team started joining in, and obviously people felt excluded by that, and like the coaches, it became a whole mess, and obviously had to be settled somehow by the Supreme Court, who whatever you want to make of that judgment, we'll steer away from that, but really this guy was just praying at half field, and then when he was put on suspended leave by the district for doing that, because like, listen, you're making a religious statement, which we're not allowed to do. He went and did like a bunch of press and encouraged other people to show up to the game, and they stormed the field and knocked children over, like band members over, to peacefully pray at the 50-yard line after a high school football game.
So there's a brief filed by...
Tell me Carson Wentz put his name on a...
No. Close. So here are the quarterbacks.
Jesus.
Or players, I guess. Kirk Cousins.
Not shocking.
Joe Delamiel Luray. I have no idea.
Sounds
Apologies.
Sounds like a character from Blue Mountain State.
Won Super Bowl 52 MVP Nick Foles.
Oh, that's tough.
Phil Olsen, Christian Ponder, Drew Stanton, Harry Swain, and Jack Youngblood. They are amici curiae in support of the petitioner.
All right, cool.
Which basically says that when those guys were attending public school, they were allowed to pray this, that, and third, and are basically like...
I'm sure there's nothing wrong with, a coach doing that and a player not feeling totally comfortable.
Right.
And, I'm sure it'd be totally cool and treated the exact same way if someone was reading a Muslim prayer at the 50-yard line in America. I'm sure. I'm very sure if someone laid out a prayer rug and faced towards Mecca and did their daily prayer. Sure, it would be totally the same. Totally the same.
100%. It was tough seeing Big Dick Nick there.
Gotta say, don't meet your heroes, though, this is why you keep them at a distance.
But yeah, I mean, big game on deck for the Eagles this week. 2 big games, potentially. We'll see how game 2 goes here for the Phillies. It's 0-0 top of the third right now. But we'll have at least Friday. And, it's also pretty wild that on top of everything that happened against the Cardinals, that's the Phillies' first postseason series victory since 2010. So it goes back even further, folks.
Yeah, well, they also haven't lost a playoff game since 2010.
That's also true.
You can spin it a lot of ways.
So we'll see how that all plays out. The Union obviously have that first round bye, which is exciting. But let's get into it, Matt. Buffs and Snuffs, Survivor 43. It's brought to you by our friends over at Pickup. You guys can go to playpickup.com, start playing the hottest headlines in sports, rack up points on your fan profiles, cash them in for prizes on the Pickup Marketplace. All you got to do is sign up with your phone number. That's playpickup.com. Another week. James still looking good. His tribe unscathed in immunity challenges. I thought this episode was it was much more in-depth on a lot of the castaways in this episode, and I think we got a lot more just to pull away from, and we got a better look at just like the competition level, I think, of some of the players. And Vesey goes back to tribal council. NECA is voted out, and it seems like that tribe is on the brink of just being not around for too much longer.
Feels like we really won a season. It's a good year for the risk takers because Carla finds the beware advantage. I actually I don't mind their initial thought was like, you know what? I don't know if I think it's actually totally reasonable without it now where you lose a vote and you're gonna have to do something. Obviously, I think last season's Beware was much more challenging.
Yes.
This one is hard. You still have to convince people and you have to obviously be a little low key, but having so much of it be outside of your control, I like that it is much more in. I forget who it was last season that had to dip their hand and it got covered in red paint.
Yeah, it was we follow her on. She won the CEO award last year.
I like that is. I like when things are like that. Did they just set a firework off after the? They just set a firework off. Sorry, yes, I like you still. It's obviously it is Beware. You are being challenged in a way to do something, but it's not. Again, you have to wait for other people to find the thing, and then everyone knows that you have it. This you can at least hide and conceal in some way. As no, I just wanted to make a cool hat or a cool bracelet, whatever. So I thought she did really well with that, and our man James instilling some wisdom. Saying, yeah, you gotta go ahead and take it. You gotta get the advantage. So, Good for James, good for Carla. We got to finally get a little more like in depth with the blue group. But yeah, I mean, Noel like gets the steal vote, which is a big advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's outside of Immune Idol. I think that's probably the best.
Yeah.
In terms of like general, yeah, obviously they can come up with something new, but I think that's probably the best outside of like the steal and advantage one.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, it's just.
We've seen that backfire.
The success rate with that one is not near like that. Like steal a vote is like much more in control and can really get you out of a tough spot. Can really like make a big switch. So good advantage for Noel.
Yeah, I'm excited to just see how things continue to unfold. I think this episode 2 was a big boost in my eyes physically for Owen. He looked very dominant in the challenge. And I think after a slow start for the Yellow Tribe, like they've just been rolling, and they just seem like they're ready to go to Tribal to vote out. I'm blanking on his name. The heart surgeon, Gabler. They're just like waiting. They're like, can we get this guy voted out? But they just keep winning, and I think that's a benefit to them, and just showing that even though they lost that first challenge and went to the first Tribal Council this season, like they bounced back and they've won 2 straight immunities now, and Coco just continues to dominate, and whether it's first immunity or second immunity, they haven't gone to Tribal yet, and that's very similar to, like we said last week, to Danny and Deshaun's season, where the Blue Tribe just rolled until the merge.
Yeah, I mean that can put you in a huge advantageous spot. It can also be a little bit to your detriment though, because there's something about like testing your alliances and knowing exactly who you can't trust that I think is perhaps important. I do think it says something too that Noelle got that steal vote advantage, was like on the trip, and I mean fair enough was saying that she was at the bottom and then ultimately doesn't use it. Like, sometimes you can fill in the picture with what you don't see, and the fact that you didn't see her use that and then like it just all went to NECA, I think maybe speaks to like Noelle being a little more in touch and like a little more included than maybe we've been totally led to believe. But yeah,
she looked strong too, in that challenge, proved that she could do the physical stuff. Not that there was ever any doubt.
I like who was it that was on the bench checking for the advantage?
Gio, I think it was.
Yeah,
he's like, just checking.
Yes, and you know what?
Smart.
Yes, smart. Good on you. Good on you. Gio.
I love the captioning there. He's just like, just checking.
I like where your head's at.
Yes, because we know how it all turned out for Xander.
In so many ways.
And I have to say, the edit too, when Carla found the Beware advantage, I was like, she's going back for that thing. Like with it cutting to commercial when it did, I was like, she's not leaving that behind. What do we feel going into this next episode? I think, the Vessi is at a huge disadvantage in just terms of numbers, but
everyone else has been getting like food rewards too, which is always tough.
Got fruit last week.
Yeah, a lot of people with like the fish. I think Kogo's talking about like, yeah, we've been well fed. We're having a great time. Yeah, it's tough. I think within Vessi, Dwight would be who I'd probably be most concerned with because he doesn't seem to have that relationship with Jesse. Not that we've seen necessarily. Like Jesse and him have this like strained relationship now, and he didn't seem to have like, again, based off what we've seen, right? We don't actually know, but him and Cody didn't seem that tight. Him and Noelle have a good relationship, but again, Noelle not using her steal vote when she felt clearly that she was on the bottom, and then I don't know, like speaks to me maybe that she has a better connection with Jesse and or Cody than maybe we know, or maybe I don't know. I think it's tough.
Also, hiding her advantage in her prosthetic was
so next level.
So play. Next level.
Yeah, Gio, but it's almost never the one that like.
Yeah, we felt that way about Romeo all last season.
Right, and like sometimes people just kind of stick it out that way. So like Gio or Gabler, but Gabler obviously has like an idol. Gio could be someone gone, but it's again tough to say because we haven't gotten a lot outside of Vessi in terms of like really in-depth kinds of stuff. Yeah, even someone like Ellie though, with like Gabler, Rally, Sammy, and the boys, we could see something like that. But I think there's still like a lot left to be unfinished.
And then what did we make of the going on a journey trio? Do you think that sticks?
I feel like
When
they
the
made a
merch
really big
comes?
deal to show it.
Yeah.
And I feel like anytime they do, like, again, you have to take what they give you. And I feel like they gave us like just an exposition dump. So we'll see if it connects to anything. But I mean, we've seen that happen in the past,
Yeah.
where those connections are made and they do stick to them, and it is advantageous for people. So I mean, they did do her solid. So she would do well to remember that.
So we'll see how it all goes down. But make sure you guys are following us on the socials at Underground PHI on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.com/Underground Sports PHI. Follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Castorina. You can follow me on Twitter at KBIZZL311. Make sure you check out the website, undergroundsportsphiladelphia.com, for all of our written content. And subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. Let us know how you're feeling about Red October so far, and help us get on the charts here in the month of October. Twitch.tv/Underground Sports PHI is the place to be every Wednesday night. And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, where you get full video episodes of all of our podcasts on the network, including this one. And we're on that road to 1K challenge. Make sure we're at 253 subscribers last I checked. Doing a live check here for you now. Yeah, 253. Need to get to 1K. So make sure you subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend, smash that like button, ring the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our episodes, and comment down below your thoughts on the Phils, the Eagles, Sixers preseason. Tyrese Maxey's looked fantastic so far, but nobody should be surprised about that. And, of course, the Union and Survivor. Whatever comes to mind, leave it in the comment section. Big thank you to our sponsors, Main Auto LLC, Ducharme's Pro Foot, Security 21 Security Systems, Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated, and the Dental Wellness Center of Vineland. Tomahawk Shades, Pickup, Kenwood Beer, Trophy Smack, Beano Board. All of their info is linked in the show notes on audio and in the description on YouTube. But this has been another Red October edition, episode number 472 of Underground Sports Philadelphia. For Matt, I'm KB. Go Phils, go Eagles. Till next time, we are signing off. Peace.